At Old Trafford, but it was still a good day for England as the third Ashes test against Australia got underway. Kent's Dean Headley made a dream debut. He took 3 wickets as England's bowlers prospered early on, but then Steve Waugh kept the Australians in it. An unbeaten 102 from him at the close. Australia 224 for 7.
His cap, that's David Graham.
Becoming cricket's first ever third-generation test player proved to be an inspiration to Dean Headley. In just his third over, the England new boy removed the Australian captain.
That's a very fine piece of captain.
The Aussies were further embarrassed when Greg Blewett drove himself into trouble.
Right on. Dragged it back on.
Mark Waugh had scored a century in his last innings against Hampshire, but could only manage a dozen runs against England's seamers. His twin brother Steve proved a little more difficult to remove, as he and Matthew Elliott put on 43 for the 4th wicket. That came after an extended lunch because of rain. Headley with his second scalp. The tourist did manage a few runs every now and then. This Goff delivery fooling everyone and going for 4. Michael Bevan was twice close to being run out by the Yorkshireman, as Goff hit the stumps with unerring accuracy. The reward came soon enough. Headley again the wicket taker, as Bevan was found wanting. It wouldn't be an Old Trafford test without rain, and the heavens duly obliged. When the players returned, Steve Waugh continued his rearguard action, reaching and then passing 50. Ian Healy was caught by his opposite number, and Shane Warne departed in quick time, another simple take for Stewart. But the England wicket-keeper was too slow to react to this chance off Steve Waugh, and the Australian vice-captain made him pay. In the last over of the day, Waugh reached his century off Croft.
Very, very good.
The Aussies still have wickets in hand and will finish their innings with a respectable total on a pitch that should offer as much for their bowlers as it already has for England. Mark O'Leary.
Third Ashes test against England at Old Trafford after spinner Shane Warne took 5 wickets. Old Trafford, of course, where Warne destroyed England 4 years ago. But England managed to hold on this time, and they'll resume on 161 for 8. The second day began well for England as they finished off the Australian first innings for the addition of just 11 runs.
2 more wickets for Darren Gough ensured that the Australian rearguard action lasted only 40 minutes. But England's reply was hesitant, and Mike Atherton fell to McGrath with just 8 on the board. Shane Warne wasn't as accurate when bowling underarm, but Alex Stewart had been patient and chose his shots well on his way to 30. He was undone though by the spin of Warne and the quick hands of Mark Taylor. Butcher accelerated to his 50, but the applause had barely died down when Bevan tempted him a few inches out of his crease, and Healy whipped off the bails. It was a good session for the tourists. Thorpe had made just 3 when Warne and Taylor combined. Nasser Hussain became his 3rd victim, Healy collecting the faint edge. Only 1 more run had been added, with the same combination accounting for John Crawley. Another Lancashire letdown. Mike Atherton worked on his impersonation of the umpire, and though spin had been the Australians' main weapon, pace accounted for England's spinner. After Croft had been softened up, McGrath induced him into a rash stroke and Steve Waugh took the catch. But this was Warne's day. Old Trafford was where he took his first English wicket. Gough became his 5th victim. Mark Elam and Andy Caddick held on for the final hour and a quarter to put together the 2nd highest partnership of the innings. Welcome runs which denied the Aussies the last laugh. Ian Woods, Sky News.
Innings. Here's their second innings card, looking pretty healthy, 262 for 6, and what a match for Steve Waugh. A century in the first innings, and he's 18 runs short of doing it again, 82 not out, despite a thumb-in.
Ashes series, it took Australia only an hour and a half this morning to polish off England's second innings to win the third test at Old Trafford by 268 runs. Glenn McGrath took 4 of the 5 England wickets to fall. Shane Warne got the other. John Crawley made 83, but no sign of a last day escape for England. 200 all out, which leaves the series level at 1-1 with 3 to play.
It seemed like mission impossible for England, needing to bat all day on a pitch that might have been prepared just for Shane Warne. John Crawley was the man charged with saving face. If he was going to succeed, he was going to need some luck. Greg Blewett gave him some of that, and the Lancashire man made the most of it. Mark Elam had batted alongside him for an hour and a half for his 9 runs. With those two together, there was still hope, but Elam's brave innings ended in the safe hands of Ian Healy, and the slide towards a quick-fire defeat had begun. The previous evening, coach David Lloyd had described Robert Croft as someone capable of scoring a Test match century. He was 93 runs short of that when he became Glenn McGrath's second victim of the morning. After all his hard work, Crawley didn't even get the personal satisfaction of a maiden Test 100. The only false step of his innings ended with him treading on his own wicket, and England's faint hopes of protecting their series lead were all but over. Darren Gough came and went in typically cavalier style, while some lusty hitting from Andy Caddick at least ensured that the score reached 200. But when he hauled out the rearguard action that was supposed to last all day, it lasted just an hour and a half. Steve Waugh was named man of the match for his 2 centuries. The Australians may have been caught cold at Edgbaston, but for now it's England's Ashes party which is back on ice. Philip Martin, Sky News.